All right, so you're going to be seeing my screen, and I'm going to take you through a couple of tools that I've used in the past. This one is called a one-page project manager. It was actually developed by OC Tanner, a company, to track multiple projects. This particular one I've used again with Harley Davidson, and it's saying, okay, what's the strategy, the project or the strategy that we're trying to put on this template? It is to build our brand into the growing female and new rider market. And I apologize, some of the updating of software must have messed with some of this. The objective is to grow sales of Harley Davidson to women and young riders by 20% over a 5-year period. And so you can state that right up there. And so what you see is that we have a clear goal that we can measure to see if we reach. We have a clear strategy we're pursuing. And this is a form of a Gantt chart. I'll show you another one done in Project Manager software that I was able to convert to a specific file type in Google. So here, there's some HR implications. There's some marketing implications, production implications if we're going to build that brand for new female riders, information technology, R&D, and some logistics. And then I was able to kind of just highlight, or we put together just a couple of things that you would do in each of those. And we marked when they need to happen. So the letters or the notes kind of talk about when, and so you can show that here. And there are three things besides the task you can show. What objective does it meet? When does the work have to be done? So you have schedule, and who's ultimately responsible. And I'll show you that as we move down here on the graph. You'll see you can put in owners. So the owners could be an individual. The owners could be a particular department or section of the company might make more sense. You can have this in months, you could have this in quarters, you can have this in weeks, depending on the extent of your strategy. It's probably hard to do in weeks and probably takes months to even years. And so, since we only have space for 12 items, you determine whether 12 months works, 12 weeks works, 12 quarters is better for you, but you can define that here. And then those objectives, what are the things we're trying to do? Well, female voice into the new products, uh, designing new products, and attracting those new customers. So we want to hear from the customer, we want to design for the customer, and then we want the customer to actually come and buy. And everything we do should meet at least one of those objectives. So in one place you have your major tasks, your target dates, the objectives it's meeting, and down here you can actually build in a general budget so you can see costs, and then over time you can put in expenses. They happen to see how you're tracking compared to your budget. Are you spending at the pace that you thought? Are you likely to go over budget? Are you staying under budget? And then you have some spots for notes down here, this summary and forecast. So this is actually a little map of the rest of the template. And now I think they have apps and things that you could use right on your smartphones. So this could be a tool that you opt to use, but you can do it right in Excel. You could build a good portion of this out as you're thinking about putting together that implementation plan. If you were looking at this in Project Manager, it would look more like this. This one is no longer Harley Davidson. A number of years ago, back in 2006, 7, I did a project in this class where we were looking at potential franchise to start, and what were the steps to choosing and starting a new business. And that's when I ended up starting the Snap Fitness here in North Chili that I owned and ran for 5 years until 2012. But I was trying to do that so that the program might own a franchise, and then the board of trustees for the college decided it was too risky for them to own a company, and so I did it on my own instead. But we were able to kind of use that as a learning lab for a number of years, and it came out of this class. So the last thing I'm going to show you, this is the Mao model on Callaway that you saw in the presentation. What you may have noticed is that this is Callaway in a maturing golf industry, which was the reality at the time. What turns Mao model into scenario planning is that we take and we think about multiple futures. So I do a worst case and a best case. You'll see those tabs down here. And so if I go to worst case, I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, the USGA, the association that determines how professionals play, halts innovation allowed in competition. And maybe weather is really bad, and so it's not a good golf season. It's been destructive to golf seasons. I could say that they're closed down. And then competitive strategy for Callaway, then still in this maturing industry, but under a new circumstance where to keep the game from letting technology drive it too much, they put some limitations in place, and it's not a particularly good year for golf, not for the professionals, but also not for the average player. And you can compare the same strategies under that reality because we don't really fully know what the future is going to look like. And then a best case scenario, we have a great weather for golf year. There's lots of technology breakthroughs that are not just acceptable, but they're even embraced quickly by the professional part of the industry. And as a result, R&D really matters. And this is an area that Callaway had traditionally excelled in, hiring many PhDs in physics and certain kinds of engineering, aeronautic engineering even, to help design how to make a golf club, a golf ball better, and stay straighter and go further, or hit the ball further, or hit the ball straighter, and big dollars involved. And so then I can evaluate those same uh, potential strategies that I had. There were 3 up here in that reality, because I don't know whether things as they normally are, which is what we always assume if we don't do scenario planning, or if the future is going to look a little worse, or if the future's going to look a little better. And as you go through that process, if the same strategy is the strongest one in all those scenarios, it makes the decision easier. But if the strategy that looks best changes based on what's happening actually in the future that we don't fully know, we can only guess at, then you have a more difficult situation or decision to be made. And in our case, it seemed to lean towards focusing on women in youth market. I would say they went with this strategy and it worked out fairly well for them. They've also done something none of us considered, which is they've really developed a strong secondhand market for their older technology, their older clubs and things. And so that was really helpful to them as well.